Alright guys, so this is probably the first of one of these kinds of videos that I've ever done on my channel, but I was compelled to do so because an angry black liberal woman slid into my DMs because I dared hold another black liberal woman accountable for her alleged crimes. And the black woke liberal woman I'm talking about that I'm holding accountable for her alleged crimes is Brittney Griner, who's currently being held in Russia after being detained in February for allegedly bringing in THC, marijuana cartridges, into the country. So basically, she was smuggling drugs into a foreign country, a country like Russia, in which at the time, the State Department was warning people, do not go to Russia, don't travel to Russia. But she went and traveled to Russia anyways because she wanted to make some money playing basketball. A couple of not so smart decisions that winding her up in a Russian jail. Now, this has been all over the news, well, mainly the woke liberal sports media, because they don't want Brittney Griner to be held accountable. They actually want her to be released, right? They've been demanding her release, okay? And they've been saying that it's because she's black and she's gay, right? And she's a woman. That is why she's being treated the way she's being treated. It's not because she tried to smuggle drugs into the country, right? So with that being said, this angry black liberal woman didn't like my take, a recent take that I did, an update on the situation going on in Russia, in which a Russian official came out and declared Brittney Griner to be a criminal, right? So she slid in my DMs to tell me about how she did not like my take. And I'm gonna tell you, this woman did not like how this conversation went because, quite simply, I was not backing down from my position of holding Brittney Griner accountable, right? So I actually want to read this DM conversation because I find it to be hilarious, and it's also like, you know, a different way to kind of switch it up and respond to some of the haters, right? Which I find to be fun. So let's go ahead and read this. As this person messaged me, she says, "Hi, I just saw your YouTube video about Brittney Griner. I'm trying to understand why you believe she bought drugs in different countries, even though there's no evidence of any kind. Free Brittney Griner, black communist fist emoji. You should be ashamed of yourself for believing this BS." Okay, so my immediate response to her sliding in my DMs, basically saying that I should not believe that she actually bought drugs to the country, is that, has anybody actually denied that she bought drugs into the country, right? Into Russia? And this person responded with laughing emojis and said, yes, you did. Obviously, she did not understand my question. My question, which I stated again, who has denied the claims that she had drugs on her? Again, she refuses to answer my question once again and says, so why you made that video, right? And I'm like, answer the question. Has anybody denied that she had drugs? Has anybody said that Russia is lying? She says, yes, a lot of people. I said, like who? So it took her like a while to respond, right? Even though she had seen the message. So I sent her the yawning emoji, right? Because it's like, I know, because I've looked this up, that nobody has actually denied the allegations from the Russian officials that Brittney Griner, in fact, bought drugs into the country. Now, again, do I know for sure? No, but one thing I can say is that they have pictures of her and searching her backpack. Now, I didn't see any specific pictures of the drugs. However, the U.S. State Department, Brittney Griner's family, the mainstream liberal media, nobody has came out and said Russia is just flat out lying, right? They're making things up. Now, what they have said is that, well, she's been wrongfully detained, and they've been very, very, very careful in terms of how they're actually wording that. And in fact, listen to Brittney Griner's wife talk about the allegations from Russia and what's currently going on with that situation. Take a look.
So Putin's spokesman, Vladimir Putin's spokesman, has said that your wife is not a hostage, and said they disputed the State Department's position that Griner is a Russian hostage, saying it's not about being a hostage. She has been classified as such, at least as being wrongfully detained. And I want to let you listen to what Vladimir Putin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said about this detention?
She was coming to take part in sport in Russia, effectively trying to build bridges through sport. It's a terrible message, isn't it, that she should be arrested?
It is also a terrible message to bring some forbidden essences and materials to this country. It is prosecuted by Russian laws.
Given that's the position that the Russian government is taking, what in your mind can the U.S. do about that? Since, of course, we're on the opposite side of Russia on what's going on in Ukraine. Not clear what the diplomatic relationship is like. What do you believe that the Biden administration could do differently?
So what I believe that the Biden administration can do differently is to actually, take the words and the rhetoric that they have and match them together. For example, an American that's deemed wrongfully detained, to my understanding from what the State Department is saying, America will negotiate their release. It's not a maybe, it's a will. They will negotiate for their release. And so right now, my wife has been wrongfully detained. So despite whatever the Russian authorities are saying, despite whatever, press conference they do to say anything about BG and the legal matter over there, America has already determined that she gets no justice in that system and that they will negotiate her release. And so my push is for the American administration right now, the Biden administration, to do exactly that, to make a deal for BG because she is wrongfully detained.
Yeah, so listen to the wording. Listen to what these people are actually saying when they're referring to this Brittney Griner situation. They said, well, she's wrongfully been detained, right? She's not getting justice, right? They're detaining her because she's black and gay, right? They're saying everything under the sun, but what they're not saying is that Russia's lying, right? What they're not saying is that, well, she didn't actually bring drugs into the country. It's completely made up. It's a fabricated story. Nobody's saying that. Okay? Nobody's denying those allegations whatsoever. Now, again, what they're actually really saying is that, well, regardless of whether or not she brought drugs in the country, we think she's wrongly detained because we just don't agree with Russia enforcing their laws, right? We don't agree with that, right? That's essentially what they're saying, right? So, again, I asked, who is denying that she actually had drugs on her, because that is important, right? That is important. She can't provide an answer. So instead of answering the question, she says, don't be disrespectful, yo. Right? Again, I wasn't disrespectful. I was simply asking the question. And I said, I'm not. I'm asking you a simple question since you say I shouldn't believe it. Where are the people that say Russia is lying? It's one thing to say she shouldn't be detained for weed. It's another to say Russia made it up. Russia hasn't improved anything. There's no evidence. I said, LOL. Okay. She says, laughing emoji. What? How do you know Russia is telling the truth? People is not going to say that because they don't want to meet your situation worse. Well, I mean, they're calling her a hostage, right? I mean, if you're calling her a hostage and you're saying that she's wrongly detained, why don't you just go ahead and just say, well, they're making it up, right? Because that's the only way she can be a hostage and wrongly detained, is if Russia is making it up. But they won't say that, right? They won't say that. So clearly this person went and Googled what they were saying to see if anybody actually came out and said that Russia was lying. And lo and behold, unsurprisingly, she couldn't find anybody that said that Russia was lying. Because again, at the end of the day, they have no proof that Russia is actually lying. Okay? So at this point, again, I'm basically kind of done with this conversation. I'm like, okay, whatever, believe what you want. Obviously, this is not a person that can be reasoned with. And then she goes on and says, and you believe what you want. I think hearing this from a black man and seeing you believing Russia instead of your own people is really sad. Like, where your respect? All right, now this right here is what actually really triggered me to make this video, okay? Because this is what this video is about. Essentially what this person is saying, and this is the problem with a lot of people in this country, right? She's saying, I am supposed to side with Brittney Griner simply because of her skin color. Not because of truth, not because of facts, not because of the rule of law, not because of right and wrong, but simply because of her skin color. And that, my friends, is what's wrong with a whole lot of people in this country. I do not have loyalty to anybody just because of their skin color, right? I have nothing in common with Brittney Griner outside of skin color or race or whatever you want to call it. And I don't even have the same skin color as her, right? She's light skinned, right? I'm darker than her, okay? So outside of that, I have nothing in common with this person, but I'm supposed to just side with them even though they allegedly broke the law, right? And Russia has provided images of them searching her backpack, taking the stuff out of her backpack. Now, they haven't provided any direct images of the actual substances that she allegedly had, but still, all I'm saying is that she made the mistake of going over there in the first place in February, right, when this Ukraine stuff was kicking up in the first place and the State Department was actively warning people don't go to Russia. She made that mistake, and then she made the mistake of allegedly trying to smuggle drugs into the country, right? Now, again, I doubt that Russia would actually detain her, somebody so high profile like that, without actually having some real evidence that she committed a crime, okay? I do think that she probably did try to bring the stuff in the country. She probably had been bringing the stuff in the country for a long time. Russia knew about it, and they seized on this opportunity to actually detain her. Because up until then, I mean, think about it. She was coming over there and she was playing basketball, getting more money to play basketball in Russia than she was in the WNBA. That's why she was going over there, right? That's why, despite the fact that the State Department was like, yo, Russia might invade Ukraine, don't go to Russia, she went anyways, right? Because of the money. So, again, I'm just not going to sit here and believe that Russia all of a sudden is just going to take her hostage without having some real evidence, right, that they have a reason to take her hostage. Now, again, maybe they did. I don't know. But I'm not going to sit here and side with her simply because she's black, okay? If somebody black commits a crime like, I don't know, murder, theft, robbery, or whatever, I'm not going to side with them because they're black. I'm going to take the side of truth. Right, I'm going to take the side of what's right and what's wrong. And in this situation, Brittney Griner allegedly smuggled drugs into a foreign country. I mean, what am I supposed to say, right? Am I supposed to just defend her because she's black and I'm black, right? Again, again, this is what really bothers me. I said, why would I believe somebody just because they're black? Nobody in Brittney's camp has said that Russia is lying and is all made up. Nobody's denying she had drugs. She said, call someone a drug smuggler is so disrespectful. I would feel you if that was you or someone you know. This situation is not a joke at all. I think the same of the comments that you said in the video was very hurtful. I said, that's not my problem. She said, you don't getting, right? And then I said, I do get it. Nobody's denying Russia's claim that Brittney Griner smuggled drugs into the country. If she broke the law, she broke the law. Her race doesn't matter to me. I would have the same opinion if it was a person of another race. So this person blocked me, right, after this conversation because obviously she couldn't handle me trying to hold Brittney Griner accountable for her alleged crimes despite us having the same skin color, right? Again, according to this person, I am supposed to side with Brittney Griner simply because she is a so-called person of color, right? Just because she's black. However, what she actually really should be upset about is the so-called black woman, right? The vice president in office, right? And the president himself, who's a white man, not doing enough, allegedly, according to Brittney Griner's wife, to actually get Brittney Griner out of the country in the first place.
Has the White House reached out to you? Has the State Department reached out to you? Have you been able to speak with someone in the administration about what you want to see done?
So the answer to that question is kind of twofold. And so the White House has a lot of personnel working in there. And so I have been able to speak with Secretary Blinken inside of the White House. I have been able to speak with some persons from the SPEHA department. However, the person that has the power, the Biden administration itself, being President Biden, Vice President Harris, I have not spoken to them. I've asked, I've requested, and at this point, it almost feels like, they're indirectly telling me no. It almost feels like indirectly they've told us as a family they will not meet with us, despite the fact that everybody is saying when I do speak to people, PG is a top priority. We know she's wrongfully detained. We're doing everything. But the people that have the highest power, no, they have not spoken to me and my family.
Yeah, so why hasn't Black woman Kamala Harris spoken with Black woman Brittney Griner's wife about this situation? Riddle me that. Riddle me that. But ultimately, end of the day, this person probably voted for these people in office, right? Instead of Trump. Trump, who we know when Americans abroad, especially ones that were famous, when they got into trouble, right, and they were detained by foreign countries, Trump allegedly put in the work to get them out, right? Like, for example, what happened with A$AP Rocky when he was over there in Europe and he got in some trouble. Or what happened with one of the Ball brothers, okay? I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head. D'Angelo, Jello, right? Jello Ball. He was over there doing some crazy stuff in China, right? Almost, basically got detained by the Chinese authorities. I think he was stealing in China. Allegedly, Trump worked to get him out of trouble as well, too. Now, after the fact, they came out and basically said that Trump didn't do anything and he wasn't any help and all the other stuff because, again, the mainstream liberal media would rip them if they actually gave Trump credit for anything. But I would think that if Trump was in office, Brittney Griner wouldn't be in this situation, right? One, because I don't think that we would have this war in Ukraine. But two, even if we did have the war in Ukraine, I don't think that Russia would just be taking Americans hostage willy-nilly with Trump in office like this, right? Especially somebody as high profile as Brittney Griner. But again, I don't know. Maybe Russia is lying. All I'm saying is that as of making this video, nobody has denied the claims that Brittney Griner actually had drugs on her. And if she did and she was going into the country with the stuff, then she was technically breaking the law. And I'm not going to sit here and side with her simply because she's Black. Again, that doesn't make sense, especially when you're not even denying the allegations from Russia, right? But again, this is just another example of how some people in this country don't want to be held accountable for their actions, right? No accountability whatsoever. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.